Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back. And this is What If Isagi Was Ego's Son, the finale. If you enjoyed the series so far, and actually, if you enjoy whatever is to come in the so-called extended version of this, then show some love, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. I'll give a little bit more of an explanation toward the end of the video about what I mean by that, but I won't waste that much more of your time, and I want to get into the finale of What If Isagi Was Ego's Son. So, let's get right into it. Let's get it. The second selection is soon to come. But first off, Isagi needs to go against this invention. An invention that is made for Blue Lock. And this is Blue Lock Man. It's a holographic goalkeeper. More or less a pretty good goalkeeper that is supposed to expand the striker's abilities even further. And the strikers must score 100 goals within a 90-minute period. And if they don't, then they don't pass. But if they do, then, well, they're kicked out of Blue Lock. And this right here seems to be the best chance for Isagi to go out, to leave Blue Lock finally. But there's one more person, one last person he wanted to help before this was all said and done and all over. One last person. So when he's at his 99th goal, about to hit his 100th, he's kind of in a state of debating with himself. He's debating if he truly wants to shoot this last goal or just take this easy way out and leave now. He would just sigh and he would kick the ball one last time as he would score his 100th goal. Ego would be watching and he would be happy to see this. His son didn't just go out on that term. He really thought he would. Maybe this means he changed his mind. Maybe this means that he's not going to just, leave. And as Isagi's walking out, he stops and looks back in the room and he begins to speak. "I know you're listening, father. This doesn't mean anything. This doesn't mean that I'm not going to just quit Blue Lock and go somewhere else. I see something else in my future. This isn't my future." And he continues to just leave. Ego sits there in a dilemma of his own. Yes, Isagi has taken it graciously to more or less allow himself to kind of teach other people to get better and get better at being a striker. But he wants his son to be the greatest striker in Japan. That's what he wants. But it seems like he's still in the same frame of mind and still in the same mindset that he was in the first place. Isagi would exit the Blue Lock Man section of the second selection, or at least the thing right before the second selection, to basically weed out some of those extra people. And when he would arrive, he would see many there. He would look around and he would see many people. He would think that he did take that extra bit of time to kind of debate with himself, and he looks around and eventually sees Nagi, and that is the exact person he was thinking about. He would walk over and he would tell Nagi that he's going to help him evolve. He'll evolve even greater than the prodigy he is now, and he tells him that it won't be an easy task, but it will be one that they will do together. In which Ryo is confused, immediately saying that they already have someone to join them, but Nagi says that that's not the case. He wants Isagi to join them now. In which Isagi kind of just agrees to this. But at the same time, when Bachira comes out and actually sees them, he questions if he can't join as well. In which Isagi looks toward Nagi and thinks to himself that maybe the best choice and the best course of action is to have Bachira on this team. But he does kind of go through his own head. The rules are pretty simple. It's if they lose, they steal one person. So having Bachira on his team actually would be counterintuitive for what he wants to do. He would tell Bachira that he's going to go with Nagi and Ryo, and he tells Bachira to team up with people like Kunagami, that they will get in and get through just fine. Bachira would be confused. No, no, no. He would then say that he wants to be with Isagi. He wants to make sure they win so Isagi stays in Blue Lock. But Isagi would shake his head, saying that he has no intention of staying in Blue Lock. But he does believe that they'll meet sometime soon, sooner than he could imagine. In which Bachira would be frustrated about this. No, this is ridiculous. He can't just leave. He can't just leave. Bachira has made an attachment to Isagi. And even if he didn't want to admit it fully, Bachira has become dependent on Isagi. He wants him to be there so he can evolve even greater. But Isagi tells him that he's going to help Nagi evolve, and then he'll be seeing his way out. But Nagi's confused as well. Same thing with Ryo. What is he talking about on his way out? He's just going to leave? In which Isagi says that he's going to help whoever he needs to evolve and get better as a striker. And then he's going to throw the match so that they don't pick him, but they pick both of them. So they're secure in going to the next round. In which they're both shocked to hear this, but Nagi shakes his head. He doesn't want that. He doesn't care about evolving if that means that someone like Isagi is just going to leave. I mean, what's the point of playing football if someone as great as him is just going to quit? That doesn't make sense. And Nagi begins to reflect on himself. This might be even true for himself to a certain extent, but all he can think about is the idea that Isagi, someone that he's been dying to play with so far, is just going to quit on them and leave. Isagi shrugs and basically tells them that it's either this, that they go together as a 3, and they guarantee that they get picked up by other teams, or he goes with 2 random people and he just throws the game. And, well, they have to make it on their own. In which Nagi and Ryo stand there and kind of contemplate this. Bachira thinking that maybe it is the best choice for him to go with someone like Kunigami, maybe even Chiguri. And frankly, Isagi has shown them the blueprint, has shown them what they're capable of. And Isagi would tell Nagi and Ryo one last time that if they don't want to go, they don't have to. But at the same time, well, it's their choice. And eventually, the decision is made. Isagi will go with Nagi and Ryo. And the decision is final. And it's completely in the favor of the 2 of them. And Isagi makes this clear. He says that it's going to be beneficial for both of them. And he says that they will guarantee, he guarantees them, statistically speaking at least, it just gives them such a high chance at going on to the next round. In which finally they would just agree to it, and finally they would just say okay. But here's the thing, and here's the very last thing. Isagi would go in with the 3 of them, or with 2 of them, 3 in total, and as he walks in, he sees another team. He sees a team of Rin, Junpei, and also Tokumitsu. But he's about to actually approach them, saying that he wants to compete with them, but a team would come in from right behind them. A team of Kunigami, Bachira, and Chiguri. They would say that it's not as simple as he believes. They're not gonna just allow him to leave, so he'll need to make a choice. Will he allow them to win? And he knows damn well that they will make sure to pick Isagi, or will he try his best with Nagi and Ryo to defeat them? In which Isagi would be put even in a deeper dilemma. Come on, guys. Seriously. Don't do this. I mean, we have to accept the match as well. So it's not that simple anyways. In which Nagi and Ryo look at each other and say that, well, majority rules. We accept the match. In which this would infuriate Isagi. But Ego's watching from his little computer, and he would be smiling. This is great. Fantastic. They're going to make sure that Isagi gets on to the next round. And if Isagi's with Bachira, Chiguri, and Kunigami, there's no way he'll throw the game. Especially if he's with them. And Ego's smile would grow, and he would think to himself that this is perfect. This is perfect. His most elite striker, Isagi, he'll be perfect for whatever's to come. And he assumes that he'll need the amazing striker Isagi is on the field sooner rather than later. Isagi would just sigh. Are you serious, guys? Majority rules? You gotta be kidding me. Do you guys even understand why I want to do this? Why I want to leave? Guys, seriously. This isn't for me. I'm just a pawn. That's all I am. And eventually everybody would say that they don't believe so. That yes, in a way, he might see it that way. And yes, he's been trained from practically birth to be the best striker ever. But he's not a pawn. He's the king. That's why he's been kind of protected, trained, and honed. He's the king, but has the queen's abilities. That is what Isagi is. And he needs to understand that. And that he needs to face this threat head on. Because, yes, Ego might be his father. And yes, this may be his life's work. But at the same time, it doesn't mean it has to be his legacy. Who says that he can't use Blue Lock for his own good being and his own just progress? Who says he can't use Blue Lock and then leave and go and join a different team, join someone else, and then, well, say screw Japan? And of course, this would be enticing to Isagi, but he believes that the best way for him is to just drop out of Blue Lock entirely. But he doesn't have a choice right now. It seems that the first match will be Isagi, Nagi, Reo versus Kunigami, Bachira, and Chiguri. And this matchup is an interesting one. A matchup that Isagi is debating with even in his own mind. Who does he cover? It's 3-on-3, and the very first thing is kickoff. Isagi's team gets the ball first, and Isagi says that he's not going to just allow them to win easily. If anything, he's frustrated that they put him in this situation, so he won't just roll over and die. From kickoff, he would score a goal, a beautiful one, pinning it in the top right of the net. A beautiful goal that Blue Lock Man misses by a mile, and everybody stands there, and they are smirking. Yes, smirking, even in adversity. Isagi is someone that has helped them so much, so the fact is, they've never gone against him when he's like this, and they want to see what he's truly about. Bachira would get the early pass off, and he would take the ball, and he would begin dribbling up toward Isagi. Isagi would read him like a book, and he would be able to keep up, or at least that's what he thinks. Isagi doesn't realize this, but Bachira, he's been hiding things from them as well. Something even crazier. Bachira's dribbling has expanded and evolved to insane heights. He eventually would get by Isagi, but Nagi would basically catch up. But quickly enough, the speed difference between Chiguri and anybody else on that team would become apparent. A beautiful lob pass to Chiguri would lead to a goal and lead to it being 1-1. And being that it's up to 5, this does make it so it's a very competitive game. But Isagi says that his whole goal initially was to help Nagi evolve, so let's see if they can truly stop the prodigy. In which Isagi would stick to his word on that regard. So many different things would be more or less happening. Isagi is creative as can be, but who's just as creative, if not more creative? Nagi himself. Being that he has perfect ball control, insane trapping, and frankly, he has now so many different ways of trapping the ball, especially after seeing how Isagi passes him the ball entirely. When he traps the ball midair, Chiguri actually overcommits, immediately allowing him to more or less get the advantage. It doesn't matter how fast he is if he can't plant his feet properly. Immediately turning with his entire body and blitzing past Chiguri. Chiguri tries to recover, but Nagi's wide open for his first goal, scoring and leading them to a 2-1 score. Isagi would say that the longer this game goes, the more it will benefit him. He has a prodigy on his team, and that prodigy, all he's going to do is evolve and get better. And in terms of Bachira's little dribbling, well, give him time, and all he'll do is figure it out. But Kunigami would step up to the plate and say that it's far different than that, because he's dealing with different strikers now. Bachira would look for a pass quickly to Chiguri as he would do a quick tap pass to Kunigami, and Isagi would try to cover him, but just pure brute strength. It seems as if, well, Kunigami has gotten stronger, but he's not sure even how. He's pretty big as well, maybe as big as Kunigami, but still, how is he able to do something so easily? How is he able to do this so easily? But still, Kunigami would then turn face toward Isagi, and Isagi feels that he has him under wraps. He would get a toe on the ball, tipping it in a certain direction, and actually they would kind of scramble for it. But as they scramble for it, well, Kunigami looks for a strike down the middle, and immediately he would make sure that his foot would wrap around Isagi so that the ball would do the same. It would go spiraling out of control as if it's some sort of insane shot that was more or less just without him even seeing the goal entirely. And, well, he would score, making it 2-2. Isagi would shake his head and say that they were right. They're going to put up a fight, an insane one at that. And it seems like all of them have new tricks. He's really impressed. Really impressed. But unfortunately, well, he hasn't showed them everything he can do as well. Isagi would then begin dribbling the ball, and it was as if he's doing this dribbling, and it was almost impossible to tell if he was going to do a touch pass, he was going to pass to Ryo or Nagi or anything like that. He's insane. Absolutely insane. What is he? How is he? They're so insanely confused, but at the same time, it's as if he's truly the king of this field. He would do a tap pass to Nagi as Nagi would gather it relatively easily as he begins to more or less just try to juke out Bachira, and in which he would get past him. And it seems as if having Isagi on his team has put him in some sort of flow state, a total immersion into something that, well, he's never really felt before. The fact is, he's excited. He's extremely into it, and frankly, it's as if there's no stopping him, as if there's no chance. But this would go back and forth. Nagi would continue to involve, and he would continue to score. Chiguri's speed would become an issue, and Kunigami's power would be as well, and it would end up being 4-4. Game point. Isagi says that it's been fun. It really has. And they are one hell of players. But he's going to sit this one out, in which they're all confused. Sit this one out? What is he even talking about? He can't just sit it out. They told him that if he sits it out, well, they'll just pick him and then it'll be game over. But Isagi would cross his arms. You'd pick me, someone that doesn't even want to be here. Very interesting. What about the purple-haired guy? You're going to let him and his striker dreams completely annihilate? What if they lose? What if Nagi and him lose? You know, that crazy guy, you know, the King Bato, he's still in this as well, right? You think he got a good teammate? I mean, just through deduction and knowing who's here, I would assume not. I mean, do you really think that you guys can take on someone like Atoshi Rin? I mean, it's possible. But do you really want it on your conscience that this purple-haired guy over here, Mr. Ryo, has to just go bye-bye from Blue Lock because you want me to stay? Isagi would tell them one more time to let him leave. Let him go. He understands the feelings they have, because in a way, he's had these feelings as well. He's grown to have a family here, have friends, brothers. He understands that. But he's telling them over and over again, he'll be back, just in a different way. And he's already evolved Nagi to the point that he'll be on the same level as many of them very soon. Kunigami is the superhero he's been wanting to be, And Bachira, you love soccer. So, how about this? Let me go. Let me go. Pick up Nagi. I'll go with Rayo. I'll throw the match. And they'll pick up Rayo. Okay? And then everything here can be done. Bachira would look at them and shake his head. No, we can't let you go out like that. I don't care what you're saying. How are you going to see us again? It's Blue Lock. Yes, it's Blue Lock, Bachira. But I'm also the son of the creator. You think I don't know a couple things? And, of course, in Isagi's head, this is a massive bluff. He doesn't know jack squat. And Bachira would stand there, and eventually, he would think to himself, maybe he does know something. And Kunigami would look toward Isagi, and he would shake his head. But then from kickoff, he would launch the ball as if, well, it was nothing, and he would score the final goal. Isagi would say that it's for the best, guys. Truly. They would pick up Nagi, and Isagi and Rayo would be the duo. He would tell Rayo that he'll help him evolve as much as possible. But at the same time, this last little bit, he's going to have to show that he's the better player. In which Isagi says it shouldn't be too hard, because Rayo has a lot more in him than he possibly believes. In which the battle, or the game, which is basically a battle, would be against Baro and Naruhaya. In which, let's be honest, if Isagi wanted it, he could win this with ease. But the King Baro, would more or less put up points relatively easily. But Isagi would, during this downtime and during this time in general, would speak with Rayo about what he can do better, what he could do to evolve, and just flat out what he can do in general. And toward the end of the game, being that it's already 4-1, Baro would question what Isagi's even doing. Isn't this the same guy that crushed them? The same guy that destroyed him? And Isagi would say that unfortunately, during the last selection, he got hurt. He tore something in his knee, and it was bad. And right now, he's kind of just playing on fumes. But it's okay. He tells them that once they win, that all they have to do is pick up Rayo. And he's going to get this checked out. And frankly, it might be the end of his career. In which Baro hears this, and in a way, he shows some sympathy. But at the same time, this is Blue Lock. And Blue Lock, you don't take any prisoners. So he kicks the ball, and he scores his final goal. Rayo would be picked, and Rayo gives a thumbs up, and more or less they fist bump, and he walks away. Isagi is now gone. Blue Lock has been overdone with him, and over and done with him entirely. Isagi would leave Blue Lock, but before he could truly leave, he would be stopped by his father himself. His father would speak to him, saying that there's more to Blue Lock than he would possibly imagine. And Isagi says that he expected that. He knows the way his father thinks. But his father, Ego, would ask him to please sit down. He wants to speak with him. And after they speak, if he wants to truly leave still, he can. He wants to make this up to him. He knows that it's going to be difficult, but he wants to try. They sit down and they begin speaking. They begin speaking about what Blue Lock is, what it means, and what the proceedings will occur, or what proceedings will occur. And he tells him that there's something known as the wild card. The wild card is a training regimen, just like he did when he was younger, but far more intense. Something that he could easily handle. Something that would make him like the striker Noel Noah. But for him, it would be a little different. And frankly, it would be a little different for every single person, depending on who it was. But Isagi says that he's not necessarily interested in some wild card. Not at all. In which Ego thought so. He thought he would say that. But he would bring up the fact that Isagi himself said that he would consider coming back to Blue Lock, in which Isagi would nod, and he would say that he assumes his father, he assumes that he has more plans ahead, and he asks him, are those plans involving commercializing? Are those plans involving proving themselves for more funding? Because he knows they're running thin on money. In which Ego says that his bank account is completely there and completely fine. In terms of money, if he wants to leave Japan, he'll be just fine on his own. But in terms of the funding for Blue Lock, he would be correct. He would say that he does love his son. And maybe his work, no, definitely, his work clouded his judgment throughout the years. He wanted to mold him into the best striker, mold him into a talent that was undefeatable. But he didn't even think about how Isagi was truly going to turn out, and the person he was going to be. In which he would say something before Isagi could cut him off, and he would say that no matter what, he's still his son, and he came out to be a fine man. And yes, he knows that this is probably too late to say these things, but he would love for him to enter the wild card, transcend his skills to the next level, and truly turn Blue Lock on its head. Isagi would sit there for a moment. The wild card, huh? You know, Father, in any other imagination, in any other universe, I think I would be sitting here with you, and I would be agreeing to this. I'd be agreeing to the strenuous things you would want to put through, well, my being. I would be agreeing to the training that you want me to undergo. But this universe, it's a little different. I don't think I want to do that. And, of course, Ego would say that there are other options if he decides to leave. And phone calls will come sooner rather than later. And Isagi says that he wants to build a relationship with his father, Mr. Jinpachi Ego. But it just can't be here. Not on the same side. It just doesn't work for him. In which Ego would sit there, and even in a way he would get emotional himself. He would think to himself that he truly messed up. Not only is his son walking away from something that was created for him, but it's frustrating because he understands why. He understands exactly why. This would frustrate him, but he would agree. He would say that he'll be getting phone calls soon, very soon, and he can trust that. Trust and believe that. Isagi would nod and say that he'll be taking an international leave. He'll be getting a passport and most likely attempting citizenship at other places. He's obviously thinking about playing for another team, and that would mean leaving Japan, in which Ego would say that it's actually easier than you think. People have done it. Even the brother of Rin did it. In which Isagi would nod, saying that he knows, but he is expecting a phone call. And frankly, he thinks he knows who that's from. Isagi would leave, and throughout this time he would go international. He would go from place to place, visiting strikers around the world. And eventually, he would actually meet with one person that he didn't know much about. But meet with is an understatement, or at least to an extent. He would know who this person is and known for a while, and kept in touch for a little bit, but not as much when he started training seriously. It's his own mother. His own mother would speak with him and ask him what his plans are. What he wants to do, if he still wants to play football. And of course he does. It runs in his blood. And that's all he knows. And it's still the game he loves, even if he didn't get to choose that. Isagi would be happy with the idea of speaking with his mother for a short amount of time, and he would say that he personally is on a mission, and he's truly a man on a mission. So he hopes that the opportunity will then ring, and during his international travel, he would stay in Italy for a little bit, and a couple months into his stay, And a couple months into jumping from training to training, learning about the culture, well, his phone would ring. And that ring, well, would be exactly from where he thought it would come. He'd pick up the phone and he would listen. And it would be the one and only Mark Snuffy. And he would be telling the kid that it seems like Blue Lock is a success and that he'd love for him to join his team. Isagi would look at the TV that he was watching, the TV that was talking all about Blue Lock and the success that it was having, and how the televised U20 match and how everything went spectacular and the sponsors are piling in and money, funding, and everything is coming. And Isagi would tell him that he's been expecting this phone call. And if he wants, he's ready to lead his team. The smile could be heard through the phone of Mr. Mark Snuffy, and he would say that he hopes he's ready. He really hopes he's ready, because those kids at Blue Lock have evolved even greater than what he imagined when he was there. Isagi would smirk, and he would say that he's counting on it. But you have to know, he's evolved as well. But that is the end, for now, of What If Isagi Was Ego's Son. This was the finale. Yes, it's the finale. And I know it sounds like I'm leaving on a cliffhanger, which technically I am. Okay, I know a little bit about the manga, so that's why I'm able to set that cliffhanger up. Shout out to my boy Amaris, or Noxstratu, for helping me out a little bit. He gave me a couple little things that I could add to the ending or stuff like that to make it kind of cool. If y'all don't know me, and if y'all watch my videos before in My Hero Academia and stuff like that, I love building narratives like this. I love building a story like this. This is a little bit different than what I normally do, especially with Blue Lock What Ifs, but very, 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 very similar to stuff I would do in My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, and stuff like that. But I want to say this. After I read the manga, I have full intention of giving y'all a little bit of a, let's say, a one-off. A one-off to What If Isagi Was Ego's Son, and it would be kind of like a one-off of like What If Isagi was on Mark Snuffy's team, right? So it will eventually come. I'm not 100% sure when. But if y'all show some love to this video, but also the movie of this series, if you show love to the movie, then, well, then you'll probably see it sooner rather than later. I will leave this all in, so if you're listening to this now after you just watched the movie, then you understand what I'm saying. I want to leave this in. I'll make sure to leave this in. And yeah, I don't have that much else to say. That's all. I hope y'all been enjoying the Blue Lock What Ifs. I've been enjoying making them, and I hope y'all have an amazing day. Later.